Hello, and welcome to Intimate Sky. My name is Kara Peters Parkinson, and I'm on the journey with you of learning astrology and communicating about what's going on. So, I'm still learning about how to make videos and how to relax enough to get the information flowing across. And it's not just that I want to force through a bunch of data. I want whatever arises, and my intention with this video and with all of the videos I'm making is, and it's good to state this because otherwise I might get confused. My intention is to let the purest form of the celestial language come through to benefit as many people in as many ways as possible. So that said, I've been reflecting quite a bit on how many ways there are of looking at a particular symbol, of interpreting different facets of reality in general, and astrology is a wonderful example of that. We have so many different traditions from all over the world. For instance, like my focus on the nodes of the moon in the last few videos I made is a sort of modern Western tropical interpretation of the nodes, whereas we also have the Vedic perspective on Rahu and Ketu, which are the dragon's head and dragon's tail, and they're seen as, Ketu, the tail of the dragon, is seen as quite malefic, quite, and it's true. It lashes and it cuts and it makes things disappear. It makes things go away, sucks things into sort of a void of its passing. It's a passing energy. And then the head of the dragon is also seen as somewhat malefic, whereas in Western astrology we're more like, this is good and this is bad. Whereas they're like, they're both kind of bad. And it's interesting too, like Mars, malefic, and as are in traditional astrology, and Saturn as well. But we have ways of seeing how these participate in our lives and in the stars and in the way that the whole universe works. There's a beautiful crow. Oh, there's a bunch of them. I got a nice window here. Works together to create the conditions for existence, and therefore we can say something is bad from a limited perspective, where Mars hits, like I had a Mars return this year that laid me flat, that got me really sick, and then when it came around to the opposition to my Mars, I got very sick again, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, Mars maybe isn't malefic, but Mars also is this impetus to life, and it was actually that the life, perhaps that the life force was flowing through me so strongly that the blockages in my system were identified and they needed to be removed. There's so many different ways of looking at these things. And one of the ways of looking at them, like anything could be regarded as a malefic if you're going to attach ultimate meaning to it or static meaning to it, because in my life I've found that the transcendence of concepts and the leaving behind of needing to attach meaning or drama to anything is pretty nice, is pretty blissful. I'm just here breathing. Like they say, people create problems in order to serve all sorts of ends. Like if I say, this is really intense and this is bad and you need help with this, and I don't even want to do that. Not gonna do that. But that said, like we can go like, oh, there's nothing's anything, and then and they say that that's the biggest possible slippery, slopey pitfall. You can cure anything except the addiction to nothingness. Like nihilism is a danger of spirituality. It's not that there's nothing; it's that everything is nothing and nothing is everything, and you can't really put it into words. Anyway, I want to talk about astrology a bit. I do, and I have been, but I want to talk about what's going on. So I've already made a few videos where I've been talking about this full moon, but I want to talk about it some more because, like, sometimes we have such short memories, and we see events and situations as isolated when in fact they're part of a continuum. This full moon is the culmination, or it is the zenith, and not necessarily the culmination. Just because you're climbing a mountain doesn't mean that the most important part of the climb, or the most pivotal even part of the climb on an emotional or psychic or physical or experiential level is going to happen at the top. The midpoint between the base camp and the height of the mountain would be represented by the quarter moon, the half moon, and the half moon. The quarter moon in any cycle, I mean, if you notice your sleep disturbed around the full moon, you might also notice, you might have also noticed that it can be hard to sleep around a quarter moon as well. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of tension there, and people who are born at the sun moon square, that half moon in the sky, it looks like a half moon. They have a lot to get done in this lifetime. We have a lot to get done when that comes around. So I'm going to talk a bit about the quarter moon of this cycle. I want to talk about the new moon that we just experienced that is culminating at this full moon, because that new moon was at the Galactic Center. That was the new moon when we saw like the influx of the intention and the energy and what we're going to be going forward with, for, as some of my colleagues said, not this lunar cycle only, not this month, not a couple years, like 30 years. Like, this was a huge time. This new moon, followed closely by Saturn joining the sun in Capricorn right around the winter solstice. I mean, I've been looking forward to this all year. These crows are just, they got the red of the sunset on the bottom of their wings. The sky is blue. I wish I could show you. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm happy they're here flying while I'm speaking. Ooh, a nice dog on the roof here. These are the kind of moments my daughter Aya has been watching my videos a bit, and luckily she's seen the parts where I'm like, oh, and she's like, I like your videos, Mom. I'm like, yeah, those are the best parts. So anyway, we got, right now, the full moon coming up this evening. I mean, but maybe you're watching it right in Winnipeg, Canada. It's at 8:24 p.m. And it's at 11 degrees of Cancer and Capricorn. Sometimes fun to look at the Sabian symbols. So the Sabian symbol for 11 degrees Cancer is this is the moon. A Chinese woman nursing a baby whose aura reveals him to be the reincarnation of a great teacher. And I've had this feeling about this full moon, that it's sort of like any full moon. They say that the Buddha was both born and enlightened during the full moon in Taurus, which is interesting, which would have put the sun in Scorpio, I believe. But this full moon feels sort of Buddha-y too. Maybe they all are, because it's, I mean, the fullness of the moon is coming to meet the fullness of the sun. They're mirroring one another in this beautiful way. Like when the sun shines on the moon, she comes back with this fullness and this roundness that mirrors the sun. And that's like the inner and the outer mirroring one another and culminating together, climaxing, right? And then 11 degrees of Capricorn is a student of nature lecturing, revealing little known aspects of life. So So carving the details of the shadows into the moon. A student of nature lecturing, and this picture is like the image of perhaps this youth standing in the woods with his arms raised and just exulting, like the best teacher is the student, right? And this is why I and many other astrologers who were students of the stars, we don't know what we're talking about. How could we? Anyway, so he's in the forest, and each little blossom and each little plant and each little insect, as he lectures, as he speaks of his love for learning about this as it's happening, he reveals these little known aspects of life to those who are listening who might never have looked that way. And that's what this full moon is really about. We have the sun moon midpoint, 11 degrees of Aries, right? The sun moon midpoint is where that merging of the yin and yang occurs in any of our charts. The sun moon midpoint is the joining of those energies. So we have, for that degree of Aries, a flock of wild geese. And that ties together what I've been trying to work through talking about the Leo Aquarius axis, is the flock of wild geese. We're all flying together in unison. I am picturing like the breasts of the geese, the breasts of the geese as their wings are beating and their hearts beating in each of their individual breasts. So each of these geese has their own experiences they look about, but they fly in formation. And there's life and death, and some are left behind and their feet get frozen in the ice. I don't know why I'm talking about that, but we're taking note of seasonal variations, says Solar Fire, and this is true. I think at this time, we're all very rooted in at least here where I live, because it's so cold, but we really are aware, we're really made aware of how much our ecosystem, our climate, our living environment weaves us all together and weaves our lives together. And it's just like that student of nature lecturing about the little known aspects of life, which really make up the whole damn beautiful thing that we are experiencing together. Saturn is still Vigentile Pluto. I've done some more reading about the Vigentile. I knew the Vigentile was an 18-degree aspect because it has a lot to do with the chart of myself and someone I love very much, this Vigentile aspect, and it's about opening doors to higher consciousness. And Saturn and Pluto together, that's powerful. Saturn is building structures, Pluto is tearing them down and building them again. and well, is the death and the regeneration that's necessary for life to be lived. So what we're building right now is giving us this window through to the regeneration that's possible, that's going to be culminating around the quarter moon that's coming up. I hope I'm recording. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm recording. 13 minutes in. And that half moon that's coming up. So let's look at that. Because, yeah, I was looking forward to the Saturn coming to 0 Capricorn, obviously, because, that's the degree, that winter solstice degree is like the chief accepts, responsibility, or he claims power from the assembled tribe, the crowd. So we really have this energy of like coming together and learning how to respect our elders, how to respect our inner authority. And those are also heavy feeling words, but it doesn't have to be. It can be light. Like if your inner authority says relax, let loose, and play, and feel and flow, like this Cancer full moon is helping us to do a little bit. It's still a bit of a heavy energy. The sun today has been on the midpoint of Saturn and Pluto. So, there's some people had a rough, bumpy come down off of their New Year's revelry last night. I was noticing some people saying, I didn't drink, but I'm so hungover, stuff like that. And, the sun is conjunct Venus, so there's a lot of enjoyment to be had, but there's also a somberness to this energy. But okay, so yeah, I've been looking for run-on sentences, paragraphs that don't ever end, the things that never finish getting said. Toilet paper roll! I'm gonna roll this back up. It's a horse! Books! Astrology is, and one of the things that it's specific to is like mundane, everyday, grounded reality, because that is just as sacred and important as anything, and even more so in some ways. I don't know if it can be more so, but so the Cancer Capricorn full moon really is, and I just went and gave her food, and of course, and but my temptation is to keep working and keep building what I want to show in the outer world to people, and being really preoccupied with that because I've just made this channel and I'm worrying about this whole thing. But the Cancer full moon is showing us that it's important to nourish and take care and nurture those who are in our homes and in our families and in ourselves. So remember that right now. If you're getting, a lot of people are probably in touch with this because it's like one of the last days of the holidays for a lot of people. It's their last day at home with their kids, and I think probably a lot of people are really being alerted to the preciousness and the need to spend quality time with one another and nurture and nourish one another. I hope so, and themselves and their inner selves. If you don't have a home and you don't have a family, then it really becomes about those. It's still, but that's probably still going to be highlighted, that need for warmth and nurture and love, right? But yeah, the beauty of the natural world, like these crows flying around, like they're drawing these beautiful things in the sky, and I can link astrology to my personal experience in this moment, and you can take what you would take from it all, and they're going to keep wheeling up there and expressing the fullness of the circle they're describing, these two together flying, and it's so lovely. So yeah, I was starting to talk about the quarter moon that's coming up, the waning quarter, which I think is, today's a full moon, and yeah, it's a full moon, and it's beautiful, and it's important, but the quarter moon that's coming up is in many ways the highlight of this lunar cycle for me, because I've been looking forward to this for some time, as I said in another video, where it'll be this incredible configuration with the Sun and Pluto and Venus. I'm just going to skip forward and look at it for a minute. At 19 degrees of Capricorn. 18. The quarter moon's going to be at 18. So the Sun and Venus are conjunct at 18. The moon's at 18 Libra. This is on January 8th. In the afternoon here, Central Standard Time. And then Jupiter and Mars and Psyche are going to be at 16, 18, and 19 degrees of Scorpio together. So there will be a great deal of potential for regeneration, for seeing old patterns and dross in the collective psyche and in our own, and being rather ruthless about addressing it. Scorpio and Capricorn energy together, that's my chart. as nice as I am with my Venus in Libra in the 12th house, and as soft and gentle as I seem to be, and you can just walk all over me. In fact, my sun is in Scorpio and my moon is in Capricorn, and the characterization of this sun-moon combination by one website was like, this warrior in the like barren, icy landscape that like is barely survivable, just like trucking, because that's, I mean, it's like an apocalyptic, event, and it's the stoicism and stick-to-itiveness of Capricorn, along with the willingness to go as deep and as intensely as you possibly can of Scorpio, Mars, and Jupiter. It's gonna. I've been looking forward to it because it's like, ooh, a sextile, and it's like, oh my, holy moly, it's gonna be intense, and it's gonna be powerful, and we're gonna have the chance to really work some shit out. This is a day for magic. This is a day for wrapping up loose ends. This is a day like just tying them off and burning them, and just like, here it is. A day for, we're all gonna feel, we're gonna feel it. That's what I think. I think you're gonna notice something around January 8th. And to prepare for it, I mean, it doesn't have to be an apocalyptic landscape scenario. Although many things have been set in motion before now, such that whatever is occurring, where, for whomever it is occurring, where it is occurring. And I am sending my heartfelt prayers for peace and well-being and the highest possible outcome for all beings on this planet and all others, such that we can, respect our inner selves, as I've been talking about, and what we show to the world and what is shown to us through the Capricorn lens of experience and existence, which could take the form of government shifts. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. At that point, Mercury will be approaching also that 27th degree of Sag. It's at 2652 on the chart I'm looking at right now, which is January 8th at 1:41 p.m. So it will be on the Galactic Center where this new moon was. So Mercury is going to be telling us something about this new moon that happened. It's coming back up, climbing back out of its retrograde shadow. It'll be leaving that shadow a few degrees thereafter. And we'll just trine Uranus. And Uranus is also conjunct Pallas, the asteroid Pallas Athene right now, which is like seeing the pattern of things, seeing the way that things are woven together, seeing intuitively, using the third eye. There's a warrior aspect to Pallas as well, very much so, and something about whether you're aligned with, in which ways the patriarchy operates through women is a Pallas Athene theme, so that's an interesting thing to consider. But she's got even a deeper history than when patriarchy co-opted her and had her jump out of Zeus's forehead. Not that that's necessarily even patriarchal, so it's just stuff to work with, stuff to think about. And then a few days after that, January 8th, we're going to see Venus and the Sun will square Uranus from 24 degrees of Capricorn around January 13th, 14th. So the push-pull between the Aries-Uranus, which we've been very familiar with throughout Uranus's transit of Aries. I'm going to do what I want. All this talk of narcissism, all this talk of self-involvement, it's never been quite so pronounced as it is right now, and I think that's a Uranus in Aries byproduct, as well as Eris in Aries, of course, the left-out child and whatnot. I want to look at also White Moon Lilith, at 29 degrees of Gemini on January 13th. Because White Moon Lilith, White Moon Selena, she's Black Moon Lilith's counterpart, little spoken of in our world of, taboos and tearing things down and facing the dark and stuff. Selene is, Clarissa Pinkola Estes' too good mother, but also the one that imparts the blessing of, freedom from karma and of the represents the enjoyment of the light. Black Moon Lilith represents the enjoyment of the dark. White Moon Selene is the purity of enjoying the light, and she's transiting Gemini right now. Which is nice. And has been opposite all that action on the Galactic Center while it's been happening. I'm just going back, December 29th, she's at 27 Gemini, she was right there, right opposite all of that, saying, even though you know these truths, I know that there are many. Even though there is an ultimate way that we are going, we each go it our own ways. And this is what can free us from karma at this time. Selene's always in a different place in the sky. But when we can tap into her energy, I have found that it really is liberating and peace-bringing. And here she's saying what I've been thinking lately, it's that we have a multifaceted existence. We have a multifaceted universe. We have, she's also been square Chiron in Pisces. Chiron in Pisces, this woundedness of us trying to reconcile the fact that we're all connected and we're all one, with the fact that there's so much danger and damage in the world. And Selene here from Gemini saying, yes, but we all experience it from our own perspective, and that's okay. And there are millions of different ways to experience it, and that's okay. So I'm going to leave off there. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that there's been something useful in this report for you. It's been really enlightening for me to get to share this with you. So